Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Shane Guilford, and you've joined us for round four of the British Touring Car Championship of 2023. Hosted from Entertainment Park here in Bankstown, full motion simulators. And tonight I've got my trusty co-commentator, Tim Lawson. How you been, mate? It's been a while.
It has, mate. We had a very relaxed Wednesday last week. We enjoyed the State of Origin, but obviously, you Blues, we won't have a conversation about that.
No, well, you guys hosted it because you're from South Australia, aren't you? So you got to enjoy it in your front door. Not a good result for us New South Wales folk, but yeah, we'll be back for round two in Queensland. But yeah, tonight we're heading over to the States at Watkins Glen.
And a fantastic track. If anyone hasn't spent any time driving around here, you need to have this track on your bucket list. It is a must drive in any simulator game, and especially here with Factor 2 in the British Touring Car. I had a quick drive around here earlier. Absolutely fantastic. I don't have the pace these guys are running tonight, but I had an absolute ball having a test run around here.
Yeah, we're it's I would say it's what would you say 85-90% full throttle around here.
Yep, and just enough slight camber. We're doing the short loop this evening for the British touring cars, so we don't have the heel and toe from the boot. The guys will come out, as we see here, through the pit lane, round into turn two, up through the S's, where they had the little chicane in, and then instead of going through to the heel and toe, they will come around through the loop and then back down towards the start-finish line again through turns 10 and 11.
So we're currently in qualifier session at the moment, Tim, and just before we get into that, we'll give you guys at home an indication of how the ladder's going so far after round three. As I said before, we are in round four, so round three, Vlad Tokarev from Russia has been quite dominant, but he's missing from the grid tonight. And so he's had 2 out of 3 wins, and Braden Pritchard, our season sponsor for the British Touring Cars, he's sitting in P2 at the moment. So he'll have a good opportunity to get up and catch up to Vlad up for the championship. Big improver last week was Scott Flack on screen. As you can see on screen, moved up into P3. Eric Chandra had a great meeting last round and moved up into P4. Harrison Tebb missed the session, so too did Christian Kron, so they dropped a couple of places. Matthew Pritchard, another climber, up into P7. Luke Rosella, he's not here with us tonight either, so he'll be gradually dropping back through the field. Craig Broadbent as well. Andrew Dobolino, was meant to see him tonight, but I think a lot of people are on holidays.
It could be. We've got the King's birthday weekend coming up this Saturday, Sunday, with a Monday public holiday for most states around Australia.
Yes, a long weekend this weekend, and we'll be back into the V8s next Wednesday as well. So a few boys are coming back for that one. Scott Flack at the moment, just pipped by Eric Chandra.
One hundredth of a second is how close the top two are at the moment.
This is going to show how close these guys are for the race. Look at the top four. Jason Brooks, one of our oldest members and supporters, racing from Phillip Island. He actually worked for the Phillip Island circuit. So he's managed to get off work and get into the sim.
John Slow wants to be a part of this as well. He's just jumped up. The top six now separated by less than 0.3 of a second.
Yes, this is going to be John Slow's first race with us, but not first race in the simulator. So I'm sure we'll see some good results out of him if he just manages to keep it on. There'll be a bit of drafting up the back straight as well, because coming out of the S's up the hill, there's going to be a lot of drafting and then heavy braking into the bus stop or the chicane, which you can see on screen now. John just coming out of that section.
And it's generally fairly flat through there, but this layout of the track has two very pronounced sausage curbs on the left-hand side as you entrance into the bus stop, and also the left-hand side as you come out of the bus stop. Any driver trying to force their way through too wide is going to come worst off, I think, for that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a feature in tonight's broadcast, as we'll get plenty of action, a lot of cars piling up, and they're going to be somewhat out of control if they're going to take the fastest line. I can see a few guys just sliding into that and out of there and just controlling the sliders. We see Jamie Walker just sliding. Commentator's curse. I hope I wasn't going to bring it, but it's on point already, and we're only in qualifying with 2 minutes to go. Jamie Walker just has to pull out of that lap from JW Racing, BPW Online Racing, I should say. And Troy Kozlowski's back too, so good to see him in I think it's the Ford Focus. Currently in P11, a couple of seconds off, but tonight's racing will be random grid. They'll go off the qualifying for race 1, and then after that it's all going to be randomised each grid, so it's a lucky draw 10 lap races, so plenty of action. Five 10 lap races tonight, so the boys are going to be pretty exhausted, especially if they're wrestling that direct drive wheels tonight.
And these things are a handful around here. There is a lot of pedal work going on between the accelerator and the brake. It's automatic clutch in these. They don't have to have, most of them are paddle shift for a natural British touring car. They don't normally have a manual gear shift in them, or they're sequential. Takes a little bit of pressure off, but they're a very, very busy little car to keep them going. And it is a bit of a skill for these guys. You can do a little bit of a rear end drift on these cars. It's a bit like driving a go-kart. A little bit of a skill to get used to find pace.
Some of these tracks, and especially this one, you're going to need a bit of that to get around these corners. Almost every corner is cambered at Watkins Glen. The outer loop's a bit awkward. It really pulls in on itself, so the inertia forces you outside, but the track keeps turning inside. So we'll see how the boys handle that. Well, they'll take it as a single apex, go out wide, and then come back in for a long run down the straight, or they'll just hug it nice and tight and look after the tyres. We've got damage on tonight, so 30% only. These boys are not used to us hosting with damage on, so this will make the boys really look after each other on the circuit there. They are quite easy to get loose as well, Tim, as we've seen a few times. A little nudge in the back right-hand corner at the wrong time, and we'll see the guys spinning out. There's not much you can do with that. As we see Scott Flack moving up into pole.
Yes, and again, it's very similar to the go-kart. You can get the drift and the slide going in the cars, but if you break that inertia and the traction against the bitumen, then you're basically a passenger. In much the same way the go-karts respond. An absolute bucket load of fun to drive these cars. I really do enjoy getting a good tussle. They love a little bit of bump and tumble. They can take a little bit of a hit on side impact, but you certainly don't want any impact towards the rear or front quarter panels.
Yeah, we've got qualifiers over. Scott Flack has pitted at the end. Our international drivers, Eric Chandra from Indonesia is in P3, and Pedro Gomez back from Brazil is back in P7. But we'll show the grid now, show the quality results, I should say. And Tim, these are the results.
Sitting on top of the board at the moment, we've got Scott Flack. I'm hoping my telemetry screen here was correct with the order. Scott Flack taking it just out over Eric Chandra. Braden Pritchard sitting in third with Jason Brooks. That'll be the second row of the grid. Third row of the grid will be Frederick Sarkis with John Slow. Fourth row will be Pedro Gomez and James Sarkis. Matthew Pritchard and Jamie Walker sitting towards the back with Troy Kozlowski sitting off the back of the pack.
Yes, and that rounds out quali. We'll go to a commercial break and we'll be back for race 1. Okay, welcome back. Guys are now gridding up. We've got the starting orders mentioned before. Scott Flack from P1. On the inside line, next to him will be Eric Chandra. Second row, Braden Pritchard and Jason Brooks. Row 3, it's Frederick Sarkis in the number 33 with John Slow next to him. Pedro Gomez, P7, James Sarkis, his Frederick's cousin, will be in 8. Matthew Pritchard, Jamie Walker and Troy Jaslowski. All right, time to get to the grid. Got a couple of seconds to grid up before the green lights come. We'll hear the tones. And then we're on our way, race 1.
So counting down, Christmas tree has lit up.
Oh, very delayed start on the lights there.
Very jumped. The horn went off and the light stayed red, but the guys are all off and racing now. It's a big challenge to get down to first place, but that left Scott Flack at the back. Eric Chandra's managed to jump through for the start. We have a massive off at the back of the pack, but that looks all right. Not too much damage. Car looks okay there.
Yeah, I think that was Gomez back there. We'll just see what happened to him as he falls a few places here. 3 guys try to get through turn 1.
A little bit of a tap there between the 2
James
cars.
Sarkis, yeah. Anyway, back alive now.
Eric Chandra leads them away now, up through the S's, and a little bit of love tap through down, a couple of guys up into the grass, not what you want to be in a British touring car. Let's try and keep it on the black stuff, the guys are saying, as we head our way down the back straight now into the inner loop. Going to be a brave man who tries to force the cars too wide into here. They'll have to sink back into single file. Oh, as we see Scott Flack have a massive lose out there, and Chandra's also at the back.
Yeah, Chandra's fallen back from the lead, back in P7. So Matthew Pritchard out in P1, then it's Sarkis and Flack. He might have lost it, but he definitely gained. Oh, and he's coming up the inside.
And then new runner John Sloan sitting off the back of his pack, thinking he's going to have a piece of this too. We can see a little bit of the attitude of the cars now, throwing it into turn 11 back onto the start-finish line. And it's now a race down to turn 1 as Scott gets up the inside, but Frederick says, no sirree, I'm taking the plates back. Running a little bit wide through there. Scott's, a little bit of craziness towards the back of the pack there as well.
Yeah.
But the race is on now between Frederick and Scott at the moment. Frederick Sarkis sitting there in the number 33 in the car loop, Triple R car. And Scott Flack here in the moment, sitting in the 46 SimHaus car. While these two battling it out, that's giving Braden Pritchard a little bit of space in front. Braden, the sponsor for this evening's race, the Interflow Plumbing number 15 car, comfortably in the lead of this race at the moment.
Yeah, Braden's still got to serve that. He jumped the start, so unfortunately he did cop a penalty at the start of the race. So unfortunately Braden's got a stop-go, I think. Because the lights were quite delayed taking off and he got balked, as we saw on the opening there. John Slow coming up behind Jason Brooks as well. The 2 motor-based Ford Focuses.
Right aboard, looking at the back of John Slow's car, sitting with Matthew Pritchard, I believe, at the moment.
We're on board with John Slow, chasing down Jason Brooks at the moment. Oh, action just ahead there. Scott Flack trying to beat Sarkis into the bus stop. These guys are catching the 2 up front. Scott Flack just on the inside. It's 2 abreast as they come down the main straight there.
You see there's nothing separating these 2 cars for the last 3 laps. And this is where you want to have the inside line. There's going to be pace lost. No, he backs out of it and gives Scott some space. Best part of Valor there.
Braden coming in. Oh, there's a couple of guys serving penalties.
Yes, we've got Frederick Sarkis and Braden Pritchard both having to take penalties there. Doing their drive-throughs. That puts Scott Flack up in the lead of this race with John Flo now going to have a battle with Jason Brooks. Let's see the two cars here. Trying to work out Jason Brooks in the number 68 car. Unfortunately, in our telemetry here, looks like they both got the number 48 on them.
Yeah, John Slow in P2, Jason Brooks in P3 at the moment. Both are identical cars, and Matthew Pritchard is coming up for Matrix Plumbing. Currently in 4th, doing a great job up there. Eric Chandler's had a couple of laps in the pit, so he's at 2 laps down at the moment. Not the best race for him so far. James Sarkis, one of his second race with us, I think. I think he started at Simmons Plains, but tonight he's in P5, race 1. And Troy Jaslowski doing a great job up into P6 already, ahead of Jamie Walker.
The fastest lap of the race is Scott Flack sitting in first position with a 1:15.7. Actually, I've got to rephrase that. Jackson Brooks now holds the fastest lap of the race with a 1:15.1. He currently sits in third position, hunting down John Slow, as we can see here, the two identical cars, and everyone having a little bit of trouble with turn 1 running wide. Jason is sizing up John Slow now for a run down through the S's. Gets a little bit of a draft, slip draft here. They can bump draft these cars, but you don't want too much interference. And the Red Racing car's doing a great effort here, battling it out, but a wise move to tuck back in through the bus stop. There is some very nasty sausage curbs on the inside of the bus stop there. You don't want to pick the car up over those. The guys come now through the loop and heading back down now towards turn 10 and 11 before they finish their lap.
We're only 6 laps in too. I can see Matt Pritchard catching these two at the back as they battle it out. This will bring it up to a 3-car battle for P2, so it'll get hot towards the end.
Scott Flack has just said thank you very much as he marches away while they battle out for 2nd, 3rd and 4th position. So back through, Troy Silowski is the biggest mover at the moment in this pack. He has come from 11th and moved up into 6th position. Pedro Gomez has dropped a few positions, but he sits comfortably at the moment in 7th.
Looks like he's going to get the inside line here up the hill. If they stay side by side and Jamie forces the issue, then he may have it back, but no, Pedro slots straight into P7. As we saw before, involved in that earlier incident, cost him a lot of time at the start of the race. We go back up front, starting to spread out. Just saw John Slow get caught up in that sausage you were talking about earlier, the bus stop.
Yes, it's a natural line to try and cut a straight line through the bus stop or the inner loop, but this version of the track really does make you have a little bit more work on the steering wheel to try and manipulate the cars out and around those massive sausage curbs that aren't there in the longer version. And you can see the attitude of these cars as they really throw them into that last corner and try and get maximum amount of traction and grip coming out, maintaining speed through to maintain that exit speed to gain advantage down the start-finish line. The guys are all playing it through. John Slow getting a little bit wide through there. Also, it looks like Troy Jaslowski might be a little bit wild. Oh no, sorry, that was James Sarkis. But again, making another move here for the 2nd position. The car's now 2 wide coming down into turn 4. And it's going to be who backs out, and I think the move is done.
I think it sounded like, as we went on board, it sounded like John Slow locked up a fair bit there, so not too sure if that's to do with the brake bias, but yeah, Jason Brooks just getting the job done there. We'll see if he pulls away. We've only got 3 laps to go to the end of the race. John Slow doing a great job. His first race with us already in P3.
Yeah, so that advantage of racing with John recently in another league. He is a very, very competitive driver, and also he may be John Slow, the average racer, but he is far from being slow in a sim rig.
We're on board now with Matthew Pritchard as he's in P4 with his brother, Braden Pritchard, trying to unlap himself behind, cutting some fast laps there, but he's served that penalty. So he's not racing for position. But here comes Matt Pritchard on the back of these two for a 3-way for P2 with 2 laps to go. Scotty falling back into this group too. He's only 1.3 ahead. As these
shout out to Eric Chandra, who has the unfortunate luck of having a drive-through and some other issues. Well, he has managed to pull the fastest lap of the race with a 1:14.9.
Probably suffered from trying to repair the damage caused while he lost a couple of spots early in that race, losing at
Matthew
least.
Pritchard has moved right up onto the back of John Slow there. A little bit of a tap coming through the inner loop. Things have settled down again, but now we have a 4-car battle for second, third on track. John Slow running a little bit wide. That's going to compromise him. And Matthew Pritchard gets the job done. No, he does not.
Yeah, John's dropped back a couple of places. Braden's slotting in right behind his brother Matthew. And it's Matthew Pritchard up in a third now.
And that shows you how much momentum pays in these cars. Running a little bit wide or just losing that momentum through the corner, and John Slow has dropped back 3 positions that lap.
Unfortunately, Braden in the middle there, he's not there for position. He's still in P10 at the moment, suffering that early penalty.
Jason Brooks has pulled right up into the back of Scott Flack now. So Scott Flack was taking the advantage of the early battle between Jason Brooks and John Slow, but now that Jason has some clear air, he is closing in that margin and he's knocking on door for a podium finish, and he wants to be on the top. And just close enough now. If he manages to maintain his pace through here, he will get a little bit of a draft coming down the start-finish line. That can help him close that gap. We could see him pull right up onto the back of Scott Flack by the time they get around to the inner loop.
Okay, so the boys have been given the white flag. Here it goes. Brooksy getting a great run out of turn 1. It's going to be a drag. Scott's still stuck on the ripple, costing him a lot of time, and he's lost the lead to Jason Brooks. Scott Flack now in P2 after 10 laps out in front, has lost it on the last lap, but it's not over yet. We've still got the bus stop and the outer loop. Maybe he's saved his tyres, but Matthew Pritchard coming up behind as well. Or as they both brake hard into the bus stop. Scott's going to play it safe.
We see Matty take a big inner loop there. Said, I don't want to deal with those ripple strips. I'm just going to take the grass.
Yeah, not the best option there to take position.
So we have Jason Brooks sitting with Matthew Pritchard in second. Scott Flack still holds on to third, with John Flo sitting on the back and fourth position. Coming around now. Oh, massive moment there. Coming around now the last corner. Oh, a big tap on the wall. That's not going to do any damage, I don't think. He should be able to hold on to... No, he has lost the position. Scott Flack has held on to third position.
It's so it's Jason Brooks, Matthew Pritchard and Scott Flack in P3. John Slow, Sarkis and Gomez. So that's race 1. Quite fascinating the way it turned out. We thought Scott Flack had run away with it. But Jason Brooks comes away victor. Congratulations to him. We'll get ready for race 2 as we go to the results.
So the official results for race 1, Jason Brooks taking the top of the podium in first position, Matthew Pritchard second with Scott Flack in third, John Slow held on for fourth position over James Sarkis in fifth, Pedro Gomez in sixth with Frederick Sarkis in seventh, Jamie Walker held out Troy Chizowski for 8th and 9th, and Braden Pritchard brought 10th out with Eric Chandra coming home in 11th position, but Eric had the fastest lap of the race with a 1:14.96.
Okay, as usual, we'll go to a commercial break, reset the grid for race 2, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Entertainment Park has so much to it.
And we are proud to announce that we have joined forces with this incredible place. They've got simulation cars.
You can choose your own car like a Formula One.
Or V8 supercars, and you can choose your own track. I love the mountain. I'm king of the mountain. Not Mount Jewett, Mount Panorama.
Plus, there's an incredible go-kart track. No fumes, no smell.
And it's got a booster button too!
These booster buttons, unlike a video game, they're real. I'll catch you. Beat your fastest lap. Challenge your friends.
Have a feed at the cafe with an unbelievable menu. What? Dessert, coffee, and of course, a fully licensed bar.
10-pin bowling, video games, skills testers, laughs, play area, chill out areas and lounges, DJs and fun music.
It's safe, friendly, and plenty of parking. But some people drive to the city for that.
That's stupid.
Book now at entertainmentpark.com.au. Not just for kids.
Okay, so we're back for race 2. This time it's a random grid, not from quali. It's just been randomised throughout the night. So we could see some mixed results, hopefully.
And we have the fastest driver from practice and early quali, Harrison Tebb, who missed the first race, joining back into the server now. So that will spice things up. His fastest was a 1:14.7. So just going through the starting order at the moment, the grid line has come up. We've got Braden Pritchard off the front with Pedro Gomez, Harrison Tebb, Troy Czeslowski, Scott Flack, Jason Brooks, Eric Chandra, Matthew Pritchard, Eric Sarkis, Jamie Sarkis, and John Slow at the back of this pack.
Okay, hopefully we get the lights in order and no one's jumped in. So we've got a great launch from Eric Chandra right up the inside there. Oh, look at this run down into turn one. Eric doesn't know where to go. He's got a good run. Oh, he's come across another. And Gomez again, just getting caught up in turn one mess.
Bryden Pritchard says, thank you very much. I will take that. And he has punched out a massive margin at this stage. Sitting over the mat of Harrison Tebb and Troy Czeslowski, but we've seen Harrison had the pace early on. He will make easy work of closing up this margin, I would assume.
Yeah, Tebb moving up into P2. Troy Czeslowski in 3 already. Great job from him. Matthew Pritchard and looks like Scott Flack around the outside as well. Bit of a gap back there. Who's that? It's Gomez making up a couple more spots. It looks like James Sarkis and John Slow, unfortunately, trailing down the back there. Action back up the front now. Matthew Pritchard. Yep.
Matthew Pritchard all over the back of Troy Czeslowski there. Looks like Matthew's going to try and take the inside line down into turn one. And it's going to be the inside line that wins out there, pushes Troy wide, and Czeslowski just has to back off a little bit. Loses that little bit of momentum there. He can line himself up, settle his heart rate back down again, and get back into this focus. He doesn't want to be shackled up now by Scott Flack, who's coming right up onto the back of the Ned Whiskey touring car here.
That's a sign of the drafting through here. Matt getting away with it. Just coming across. Troy Czeslowski going real tight, and that's where you can see him just getting all sorts through the bus stop there. Scott right on his tail once again.
Scott loses that little bit of momentum just going wide there. That will give Scott the run down here, but the little bit of a bump draft through here. Scott needs to get the line going on. He doesn't want to run too wide. He needs to maintain that momentum. If you get out on those ripple strips, there is no traction at all. But how good is the attitude of these cars, the way that the back of the car slides around, little front wheel drive cars. Awesome, awesome, awesome to watch, guys.
Great car to drive, like the handling's quite planted. Being a front wheel drive, it's literally make sure you get through the corner first and then point and shoot, pretty much. The tyres do wear out throughout the race, so that's why you see position changes throughout the race, because they might have burned them all up at the early part of this race and then come good towards the end, or fall back towards the end. But we've got a couple of groups here. We're watching Eric Chandra, Frederick Sarkis, and that's Jason Brooks. Clumped together there as Matt Pritchard, Troy Czeslowski, and Scott Flack are spreading out a bit.
And this little battle here, we've got the two fastest cars on track at the moment in that battle. This set of cars starting to run wide. And he is going to get gobbled up there, losing that momentum by being that wide on track. But still managed to hold the inside line. And looks like Jason Brooks is going to be the loser out here. He can't manage to hold on. On the board, we're sitting with Frederick Sarkis, I believe.
And there's another car, that's Pedro Gomez right behind him as well. So he's under pressure from all angles. Just see him brake hard into turn one. Really hard to get this car. You feel like you want to throw a lot more speed into the corner, but you can't. The banking, you'll end up over the ripple and into no man's land trying to get back on the circuit. But they've all got the momentum. You watch the drafting up here. This really adds for a couple extra Ks up the hill as we're on board with Frederick Sarkis closing in through the bus stop there, taking a nice tight line there.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Frederick be a little bit further over to the right-hand side to try and straighten out that exit line through there. You can get as close to that wall you can on the right-hand side to maximise the turn back to the left to get out of the bus stop. Would have given him 2 or 3 extra Ks for sure. Oh, a little bit of love tap through here between...
That's Braden Pritchard taking the lead ahead of Harrison Tebb, one of the fastest guys through practice all week. Just jumped in for race 2, and he's already up the front challenging one of the faster drivers now, Braden Pritchard and Matthew Pritchard for P3. Good night's racing for him so far. There's battles all through the field at the moment. These two for the lead. Great shot there, just watching them drift and understeer up the hill. Pritchard protecting his line now.
Yes, you don't want to be on the outside coming into the bus stop there. Very, very lucky to get away with that. That little tap onto the rear there of Harrison onto the back of Braden Pritchard's car. That could have been a disaster.
Couple of position changes. Chandra with Troy Cieslowski.
Just hooks the tyres. Or, sorry. Eric Chandra just hooked the tyres on the inside of that ripple strip there and curled himself around. But Troy Cieslowski takes the win out of that, and he manages to hold on to position and sits in 5th on track at the moment.
Looks like Harry's got the job done. Moving up into P5 ahead of Troy Cieslowski. And we've got Frederick Sarkis and Jason Brooks behind them. Oh, Brooks up the inside of Sarkis. Sarkis just going wide, but he's going to lose a bit of momentum coming back on, but he cuts just in front. Right in front of Jason Brooks, I should say. Look at the toe. Here we go. There it is. Look at the speed. Oh. Who's stronger under brakes? We'll find out at the 300 metre mark.
That's the Knight Tice line. Fantastic line through there. You can see the margin that he's pulled up on the number 33 car loop. And Jason Brooks still having trouble there. I thought he was going to be able to take a margin and pick up, and he's going to now drop the run down to the inside of turn 10. And that should successfully get the job done.
But will Sarkis get back up on the inside? He's got the outside line for the last turn, but that's not the right one. Brooksy's got the better line through there, and yes, Brooksy just settles into P7. This battle up front still going. Less than a second in it. Half a second as we're on lap 7 of 10. Scott Black going super wide there, taking a sharp line to get back on as soon as possible.
But Harrison Tebb sitting in 2nd position still holds the fastest lap of this race with a 1:15.3. But they have been battling it out to try and take position here. The risk of whether these guys are going to have tyre life in the last 2 or 3 laps of this race to be able to hold on to this position.
A bit of bumping going on there, challenging for the bus. Oh, Braden got his brakes on mid-corner, not what you want to do. Harrison not expecting it, had nowhere to go but the back end. It's up the draft now, Braden protecting.
Yeah, so the outside line there is not preferred.
No.
But he just able to hold on to it. He'll get the reverse inside line, but he can't quite do it. Braden a little bit loose there, but holds on. Harrison Tebb has got to be satisfied to tuck back into 2nd position. The old switch back there. You can do the crossover here if you can get the inside line. Fantastic drive out of that through turn 2. Coming up through the S's. Still on the unpreferred line, and that is a loss of momentum there for Harrison Tebb. He'll just have to hopefully hang on to 2nd position.
Yeah,
Well, it looks like Matthew Pritchard's going to come up and join Braden. It's going to be a 1-2 for Matrix and Interflow Plumbing.
the brother Pritchards are out in front.
And Matthew Pritchard sitting in second is the sponsor for tonight's, or the British Touring Car League, Interflow Plumbing for SimHaus on R Factor 2.
See if there's any other battles. It looks like Brooks and Slow are at it again. Oh, there's a three-way. That's James Sarkis in front. And who's in front of that? That's Troy Chisel actually just hitting the grass. He's going to lose a few positions there. He bounces off the wall and back in, and it's a four-way.
So we have Jason Brooks with Frederick Zarkis, John Slow and Troy Shislowski all battling out here. Troy thinks about the move up the inside, but John Slow shuts the door. Everyone running wide through turn 1. We see James Zarkis come out of the pits.
Yeah, it looks like he served a penalty for track limits, I'd say. Pedro Gomez not having the best one either. Not too sure if he's come through the lane himself. But now it's a three-way. Braden Matthew and Harrison Tebb. This is for the lead with 1 lap to go. We'll stay here as this will get hot. If it's not already.
Harrison Tebb dirty with himself for losing second position. He was eyeing off a top of podium for this race. The number 94 car doesn't have the tyre life. Who's looked after their tyres the best? Oh, he's just going to do a bit of a lock up there. He won't be happy about that, but he's going to get the drive down here. And it looks like Matty may actually get the drive up his brother Braden. He's going to have the preferred inside line into turn 1. He's just got to back out of this, but Chandra.
Oh, look at Tebb. Look at Tebb going. Here comes Chandra.
Tebb says, thank you very much. I will take that as Braden and Matthew push each other wide. But don't count out Eric Chandra. He's sitting off the back of this too, and he wants a piece of this.
So going up the hill, drafting behind Matt Pritchard with Braden Pritchard just ahead. Let's see how they get through the 4 drivers getting through the bus stop here.
Oh no! That's a push me, shove you, and that's almost lined up Eric Chandra. He's just going to tuck in there. But they're not giving each other room, it looks like.
Oh, Braden.
Oh no! That is a massive, massive moment. Braden going out of the mix, but that now says that we have Matthew Pritchard sitting in first position. At the moment, Eric Chandra holding on to second.
Scott Flack's moved up in a, well, he might take P2 on the final corner. We'll see how it all pans out. Scott Flack and Harrison Tebb and Eric Chandra, but it's going to be Matthew Pritchard taking the checkered.
And then I think we've got Eric Chandra held on for second position over Harrison Tebb. Scott Flack in fourth position. Braden Pritchard recovered to finish the line in fifth. Jason Brooks comes home in sixth over John Slow in seventh. Frederick Sarkis in eighth. Troy Chislowski in ninth. Pedro Gomez in 10th. And James Sarkis runs out our 11 cars.
Well, congratulations. That was awesome.
That was as tight as you would get in the final lap. 4 cars battling it out for the top tier podium finish. Ended up, it was Matthew Pritchard who manages to keep it on the black stuff and came home across the line first.
Okay, once again, we'll go to a commercial break, get the grid sorted, and we'll be back for race 3.
is nothing like the mountain. The speed, the history, and most importantly, the sound. It's part of the Bathurst 1000. And now it's part of your whiskey too. Aged to perfection with the sweet sounds of a roaring V8 pumping through each oak barrel. Like a perfect lap of the mountain, each sip will leave you wanting more. For the second year, Ned Australian Whiskey brings you the 2022 limited edition Sounds of Bathurst Whiskey. And this year, Ned have taken it up a gear. The boldest drink for the greatest race in Australia.
Tahi, tell them about Entertainment Park.
Well, this place, it's like, it's...
My favourite place in the world!
The thing about this place is that
It's fun for all ages, no matter what your age. You'll love it.
what I really want to say about Entertainment Park is,
They have the best go-karts plus a great cafe. Games, bowling, simulation, but the go-karts, oh my God, they are so much fun.
look, thing is that this place is,
Perfect for my birthday party. Everyone said it was the best birthday party ever. Yeah!
what I really want to say about this place is,
Just say it!
it's a fully hectic, oh my God, venue.
Finally! Entertainmentpark.com.au. And as Tahi says, it's hectic.
And oh my God.
Okay, back for race 3. This is, and it looks like Matthew Pritchard's had a couple of great races, and he's been put on pole with the random software that we have. Harrison Tebb getting another good start. We'll start in P2.
The second row of the grid, Eric Chandra and Jamie Walker. Third row is Braden Pritchard and Jason Brooks. Fourth row, Frederick Sarkaz and Troy Cieslawski. Fifth row, Scott Flack and John Slow. And the back row will be James Sarkaz and Pedro Gomez.
Now, the two Sarkis are cousins on the grid, and we've got two brothers. So here we go, race 3. Chandra getting an awesome start. He's had some great starts tonight, and he'll definitely take the lead. Penalty to James Sarkis. Looks like jumping the start there. Harrison Tebb on the inside, taking P2. Matthew Pritchard slotting in front of his brother, Braden Pritchard. That's a big cluster right behind, and this is a better race start. As we've got 3 wide, Pedro Gomez struggling with that rear wheel Subaru. The only one in the field so far, and he's in it again.
It's a 4-car pile-up. We've got Jamie Walker, Troy Cieslawski, John Slow and Pedro Gomez all coming adrift there, and James Sarkaz has a penalty and drive through for a false start.
It looks like Pedro got in the back of Jamie Walker there. We're back live now. Up the front, it's Eric Chandra. Here we got Tebb, Pritchard, and it looks like Frederick Sarkis in P5, just ahead of James Brook. But James will have to serve that penalty for a false start, we assume.
And everyone just taking a little bit of a deep breath now and just settling down into this race. Pedro Sarkaz sets the fastest lap. with a 120.89.
This group of four behind Eric Chandra, they mean business. Look at him. Just the language in the cars.
And Frederick Sarko's moving up the inside of Matthew Pritchard there to slide up into fourth position or third position. All the cars running wide. Jason Brooks sitting off the back of that pack as well. On track we have Eric Chandra over Harrison Tebb, Braden Pritchard, Frederick Sarkis, Jason Brooks, Scott Flack. Matthew Pritchard dropped back to 7th position. James Sarkis in 8th, Pedro Gomez in 9th. John Slow sitting in 10th position. He's just been overtaken by Troy Czeslowski, and James Walker is sitting in 12th. And James Sarkis still has to drive his, or still has to fulfill his drive-through penalty.
And that was for a false start, unfortunately. Scott Flack, the fastest man out there, is only in P6 at the moment. Will we see him get himself up further ahead of Jason Brooks, the motorbase in front? He chases Jason Brooks up the hill, drafting up the back straight there just before the inner loop. Starting to close in. Down into fourth gear. Oh, just lost it. The car went too far to the right. Hard to bring it back at that point.
Yeah, that's too far to the right-hand side of the track for turn-in. You really want to be, or too far to the left, I should say. You need to be as tight to the right-hand side guardrail turning into the bus stop to get a maximum turn out. Oh, a big moment there for Harrison Tebb.
Yeah, it looked like he got a bit of a bump from Braden into the braking zone there. But that's just brought Frederick Sarkis into the back of Braden now.
And the bump draft will pull him right up into the back. He may be able to make a little move down the inside in the braking zone. And he does just push him wide. They both go wide out into the runoff area. You can be out there provided you are back in before the end of that white line. You don't get a penalty. But the guy's still at it. And Jason Brooks just jumps up on the back of this pack and says, well, if you guys are going to fight it out, I want to have a piece of this too.
I've got Harrison Tebb retiring there. Not too sure what happened there.
Eric Chandra at the moment has a commanding lead of this race over Frederick Sarkis and Braden Pritchard, Jason Brooks, Matthew Pritchard, Pedro Gomez over Scott Flack, John Slow, Troy Czeslowski, James Sarkis and Jamie Walker running out 11 drivers. But this is the battle at the moment for second and third.
Frederick Sarkis just taken that line there in P2. Braden just waiting, coming up the inside, the last corner. His signature move, has he come in too hot? Oh, he's just managed to hold it. Jason Brooks is up here too, so he might gain a position out of this.
Yeah, the guys have paid attention to the first two races. They know where to make the moves. And it's going to be a question of how much their tyre life is going to wear out here. The guys are battling very, very hard. At the moment, I would say Jason Brooks probably is sitting in the best position. He's just cruising around on the back of these two. He's not pushing the car too hard. He's not doing any aggressive moves. He's going to be looking for some maximum flow in the last couple of laps of this race with probably the freshest tyres. But too wide again coming into the bus stop. That we've seen has not generally ended too well for most drivers. And it looks like Jason Brooks had to back right out of that then. A wise move to let these two guys battle. But there's a little bit of smoke coming off these tyres. These guys are going to be punishing those cars at the moment. It's going to pay off for Jason Brooks towards the closing laps of this race, I'm feeling at the moment.
You can see nothing but tyre smoke coming out of these cars as they swing it in. Oh, Frederick just clipping Braden there.
Jason Brooks doing a great job at the moment avoiding these two. He's just watching it all unfold in front of him. He gets a fantastic drive through here, and that should allow Jason Brooks to move up into position there. It's still tossing it out, and we've also got Pedro Gomez coming up onto the back of this pack now. He takes over. He says, Jason, you're not doing enough. I want to get involved. And he's pushing his way now up into fourth position.
Yeah, they're just slowing each other up, and Pedro's taking advantage of that. The rears of the Subaru are definitely hotting up now, and this is where the Subaru gets very dangerous.
Move now, he goes, I want to be on a podium. Moves up into third position, says thank you very much. Frederick Sarkis is now struggling due to the wear on his tyres. That is a very, very unhappy car at the moment. And that enables Jason Brooks to make a move. He now sits on the inside. He's got a fantastic line into turn one and should move up in fourth position. And Frederick Sarkis runs way, way wide out into the Never Never. We see Braden Pritchard now has jumped ahead of Pedro Gomez. Did not spread out a little bit, but Eric Chandra has command of this race and comfortably sits in first position. But it's not over at the moment. Jason Brooks and Frederick Sarkis fighting it out for fourth and fifth on track. And Frederick Sarkis really struggling now with the tyres on these cars. You can see the car understeering and really pushing the car hard through the loop there. You can see the smoke coming off that tyre. That car is not going to want to turn in very much at all now. He's got a lot of work to try and ensure that Scott Flack doesn't catch up. As we see Pedro Gomez now making a move onto Braden Pritchard. Braden just shuts the door down there and says, no, sir. Pedro runs a little bit wide.
Gonna have another charge on Braden up the hill here. Subaru is definitely stronger through this section. A lot more rear end power.
But again, Braden shuts the door and pushes Pedro to the outside. Pedro does the wise thing and tucks back in behind, wanting to get maximum drive coming through the bus stop and into the loop. If he can get the good drive through here, he gets the car a little bit loose on the rear. Tucks it back down inside. Braden will pull over to the left and try and shut the door. Pedro's looking to try and get his nose up the inside to get advantage on the turn into turn 10. But we've seen so many times this is where the move gets done. And Pedro just needs to get the power down. Braden's going to keep shutting that door, pushing him to the outside. Pedro's just got in the rear view mirror with the front of that Subaru, trying to discourage Braden and get him offside. But Braden doing a great job to block down the racing line. But this is the battle for second position. And they have an 8-second margin to Eric Chandra, who currently leads this race, sitting in the ball at the moment with Pedro Gomez. The Subaru just tends to look a little bit loose through here.
The Subarus are definitely able to get a lot more power on early because they don't have to wait for the car to come around. They can actually just step on it and get the car to turn. But that straight's not quite long enough for it to make an advantage, as you saw there. enough to get on the back, but not enough to make any challenge for the position.
Oh, but he's got the inside line coming up here. Can he sneak? He has got enough up the inside. He needs to get into the braking zone here. And they both come attached to each other.
Well, this is the last lap, so
And there's now a three-way battle with Jackson Brooks moved up onto the back of this pack. At the moment, Braden Pritchard holding off. Jason Brooks has moved up to third. Pedro Gomez dropped back to fourth. Again, sitting on the outside, coming into the bus stop. I do not particularly want to be there. And the pace that Subaru had, well, that's going to have to be a rare dress. He can't take that. He's going to have to give that back.
yeah, sounds like he's slowing up, waiting for Braden, but we'll see at the end of the race here. As Eric Chandra almost about to take the checkered flag for race 3. Here he comes across the line, down the main straight. Congratulations.
Drive by Eric Chandra.
And there's a drag race for P3. Who's it going to be? Oh, looks like Braden just got ahead of Jason Brooks. Frederick Sarkis and Scott Flack crossing the line together as well. And that's John Slow in P7, Pritchard.
Scott Flack holding the fastest lap of that race with a 1:15.18. Troy Sazowski and Jamie Walker round out our top 11 cars. So the finishing order, we had Eric Chandra coming across the line in third. Pedro Gomez, I'm not too sure if we can call that a second for Pedro, but third was Braden Pritchard, fourth Jason Brooks, fifth Frederick Sarkis, Scott Flack in sixth, seventh John Slow, Matthew Pritchard in eighth, James Sarkis in ninth, Troy Chislowski in 10th, and Jamie Walker rounding out our top 11 cars.
Entertainment Park has so much to it.
And we are proud to announce that we have joined forces with this incredible place. They've got simulation cars.
You can choose your own car like a Formula One.
Or V8 supercars, and you can choose your own track. I love the mountain. I'm king of the mountain. Not Mount Jewett, Mount Panorama.
Plus, there's an incredible go-kart track. No fumes, no smell.
And it's got a booster button too.
These booster buttons, unlike a video game, they're real. I'll catch you. Beat your fastest lap. Challenge your friends.
Have a feed at the cafe with an unbelievable menu. What? Dessert, coffee, and of course, a fully licensed bar.
10-pin bowling, video games, skills testers, laughs, play area, chill out areas and lounges, DJs and fun music.
It's safe, friendly, and plenty of parking. But some people drive to the city for that.
That's stupid.
Book now at entertainmentpark.com.au. Not just for kids.
Okay, ready for race 4. Boys about to get underway. The grid's been set. It's going to be James Sarkis. Hopefully he gets a good run as he starts from pole ahead of Harrison Tebb, John Slow. Frederick Sarkis in 4. Third row will be Matthew Pritchard and Pedro Gomez. Braden Pritchard, Eric Chandra side by side on the 4th row there. James Walker, Jason Brooks towards the back, and Troy Jaslowski will be in P12. Start the race in P12. Okay, it's been nervous racing so far. That race wasn't too bad, but hopefully we get a good, clean race this one.
Guys have been taking their measure, working out where they can make their moves around this track. The Christmas tree lights up. And everyone gets away cleanly, but I can see the Pritchards have made another fantastic jump off this, but it is Harrison Tebb and Jamie Sarkis making a run down into turn 1. And Frederick Sarkis tucks up into 3rd position. So the two cousins at the moment fighting it out with Harrison Tebb for the top 3 positions. Matthew Pritchard sitting in 4th position of Pedro Gomez, Braden Pritchard, John Slow, Eric Chandra. We have a car turned around, and that is
It looks like. Yep.
There's a couple of cars tied up in that. Matthew Pritchard, Jamie Walker, and Troy Jaslowski all tied up in that. A little bit of a pinball moment there. A couple of unlucky contestants, just nowhere to go.
Nothing much you can do about that, just congested field. I can see a car across the road at the back there. That's Troy trying to...
Yeah.
Harrison Tebb and the Sarkises out the front, 2nd and 3rd, and here comes Braden Pritchard up the inside.
And We can just see a little battle happening on behind those 4 cars. We got Jamie Sarkis and John Slow having a battle at the back.
Oh,
Oh, that's a move up the inside. Looks like Braden has made a maim on James. You can see the attitude of these cars. John Slow tucks into there with Eric Chandra and Jason Brooks also knocking on the door for this party. And it is much tighter racing here in race 4. The guys have worked it out. They know where they can find pace in these cars and where they have to take it easy. The guys are throwing these cars around at the moment, trying to maximise their position on track, but as we've seen, that could be warning signs towards the end of this race if they use too much of their tyre life in these opening early few laps.
yeah, we've got John Slow coming up the back of these guys now. That's James Sarkis slipping back into P4 with John Slow wanting to take that position, and Eric Chandra right behind the both of them. So too Jason Brooks. Unfortunately, Pedro Gomez has got caught up in yet another first lap incident, so he's been pushed back to P8. We know he's better than that fast driver from Brazil, so he's been always trying to make his way back to the front all night, so hopefully he gets a good one either this one or next race. As we're watching Brooks on the back of Chandra, Gomez in 8, and Matthew Pritchard further back got caught up in that melee with Walker and Czeslowski in the pits. Not too sure if that's for a race infringement.
I think that is damage. He had nowhere to go and took a very serious hit in the back of that pike.
Okay. So we race on. Teb half a second ahead of Frederick Sarkis it is.
We see the battle here for John Slow and James Sarkis. John just tucks back in the back there.
Yeah.
It looks like Harrison Teb is starting to lose some of that margin. He did get up to a 1.5 second gap, but Frederick Sarkis has said, I am not going to get you let away from me, and he has managed to close in that margin. Jamie Sarkis and John Slow having a battle here, but that hasn't slowed them down. They're still managing to keep on the back on Braden Pritchard, who just has a little bit of half a second space either forward or backwards of him. He just needs to settle into his race here and look after his tyre life. And we're riding on the ball with John Slow. Moves up the outside of James Sarkis. No, that's Eric Chandra, sorry.
Oh, the Sarkis just lost the rear there, hit the curb and lost all his traction, although it is a front-wheel drive car. Lost the ability to turn in. Chandra tucking in behind here, slows, trying to get in there, and that's Brooks as well. Wow, this is a great battle. This is how you race, ladies and gentlemen. Watch Chandra in the second position, second car, but there's another one inside, so they've got to defend under brakes. Camera's too far away to get a good look at him.
I think everyone being polite there. No one wanted to go in there 2 or 3 cars wide. Everyone living to fight another day. A very wise move. The bus stop is very, very dangerous to try and take a competition line through there. We'll see it. This turns 10 and 11 has been the ultimate turns for the previous races. There have been a massive amount of moves made here if they can get the braking zone done through here and maximise their traction back in the start finish line. At the moment, Frederick Sarkis over Braden Pritchard with Eric Chandra, James Sarkis and John Slow all battling it out here.
They're all still relatively close. I mean, anyone's in it. There's still half the race to go, 5 laps. Teb a little bit comfortable, but Frederick's definitely coming in to say, hey, watch your mirrors, mate, because I'm right on your tail. Say easy.
And just pulled a little margin over Braden Pritchard. Eric Chandra has his mirrors full with James Sarkis, James Brooks and John Slow all knocking on his door. And John Slow losing out of this battle at the moment, and he's dropped onto the back of these 4 cars. but he could just be taking a bit of a momentum. It looks like John Slow makes the move up the inside. No, sorry, that confirms Jason Brooks was up the inside. 2 cars with the same livery. So we can see that it is Eric Chandra, James Sarkaz, Jason Brooks, and John Slow, the 4 cars that we're looking at here. And John Slow gets a great drive out of the last turn. He's going to pull up alongside of James Sarkaz.
James Brook trapped there. He couldn't go anywhere, so he's going to lose that position to James Sarkaz.
Yeah, John Slow gets the best drive through there. He slides up a position and pushes Jason Brooks back into 7th. John Slow now looking back on James Sarkaz. But while these have battled out, that's enabled Eric Chandra to get a little bit of breathing space. But we see Braden Pritchard is moving back up onto the back of Harrison Tabb, and it's becoming a 3-way battle for first position. As we look at the battle here for 4th. John Slow may have got himself out of position there, sitting on the outside is not preferred. He wants to tuck back inside here and does it correctly. He can do switch back and try and get the maximum drive coming through. Little compromise there that could give the margin over to Jason Brooks, but John shuts the door down. He now tries to slide up the inside of James Sarkaz. No, again, that's Jason Brooks got the margin through there. John Slow takes advantage and drive through turn 1. He's now got the inside line coming up into turn 3. And Jason Brooks has to tuck back in behind. It is a replay of the last 2 laps. We're now riding aboard with John Slow, looking at the back of... sorry, it was riding with John Slow, looking at...
We're on with
Jason Brooks.
Oh, Sarkaz had to go through. He's gone through the bunting. Should settle back in there.
Jason Brooks leads over John Slow and Sarkaz.
This is the lead. Frederick Sarkaz taking the lead from Harrison Tabb. We've got 2 laps to go, and Braden Pritchard's doing all he can to get to the back of this, and Chandra right up the back now. This will definitely go down to the wire, so make sure you get your drink and tune in. Don't change that.
Popcorn viewing.
It is. Don't change that channel. This is going to go right to the wire. Frederick Sarkaz, Tabb come through nice and clean here. Then we've got this battle 3 with Brooks, Slow and Sarkaz behind as well. Anything happens at the front, these guys will be there to collect. There's Tabb. Oh, heard something in the background there.
Tabb tries to slide it up the inside. Sarkaz has done... I thought Sarkaz was going to open the door there, but he managed to maintain the speed through there, and Tabb just had to stick back in behind. If we take a look back now, and John Slow has settled into 5th position. It looks like Jason Brooks has had an issue and he's dropped back to 9th.
Yeah, I think
Pritchard 6 into 6th position, but it is now the battle going on for first position. Frederick Sarkaz has the margin at the moment over Harrison Tabb. Braden Pritchard comfortably sits in 3rd position.
Yeah, Chandra saw going on to the inside wall there. I'm not too sure if the 2 come together. And Chandra come out 2nd best.
Oh, it looks like John Slow went very, very wide there coming out through turn 1. But it still manages to hold on to the margin. So we have Frederick Sarkaz over Harrison Tabb battling out for 1st and 2nd. Braden Pritchard comfortably sitting in third at the moment, with Eric Chandra, John Slow, and Matthew Pritchard riding out our top 6 cars. We can see on track. And Frederick Sarkaz is just putting that car exactly where it needs it to be. And it looks like Harrison Tebb has no answer. He can't get the job done around the outside. But Frederick Sarkaz just shutting down the door.
This is for the checkered flag. Who's going to take it? Oh, so close. It's a drag race down the inside. Tebb's got a better run on the inside. Sarkaz coming across. Oh, well, that's a great finish.
Sarkaz holds on by less than a quarter of a car length over Braden Pritchard. Mate, my timing has had a hiccup.
It looks like Frederick Sarkaz may have received a time penalty for not serving a penalty. Just check live races to see what's going on there. He's gone from first to fifth in a real hurry. Nothing's popping up on my live races.
No, I've got no penalties, no warnings. I'm really unsure what happened there.
That's usually a time penalty given to drivers who
track cuts, maybe.
Possibly, whether he's nothing's popped up here.
So the timing screen for us now says that Harrison Tebb came home in first position, also the fastest lap of the race with a 1:15.1. Braden Pritchard in second position over Eric Chandra, rounding out our top 3. John Slow held on for fourth position over Frederick Sarkaz in fifth. Matthew Pritchard came home in sixth position in front of Jamie Walker in seventh. James Sarkaz in eighth. James Brooks in ninth after having a great battle early on in the race. Troy Sazowski in 10th position, and Pedro Gomez unfortunately in 11th position after getting early damage.
Okay, we've got one race to go. We'll get that ready for you guys at home, and we'll be back after these messages. Okay, we're back live for the last race of the night, race 5. Boys are keen to finish it off with a bang.
And our order has just loaded. We've got Matthew Pritchard sitting on the front of the row with Harrison Tebb. Going to be a fantastic battle out front. James Sarkaz and Jason Brooks in row 2. Troy Szalowski and Frederick Sarkaz in row 3. John Slow, Jamie Walker in 4. And Eric Chandra with Braden Pritchard in row 5. You're watching SimHaus. This is the British Touring Car League. We are at Watkins Glen Short Track for the Interflow British Touring Car Series. We have our main sponsor coming off of position 1. And it looks like Matthew Pritchard gets an outstanding drive out of that, but Harrison Tebb also gets a great drive. We've got cars going everywhere in the background. I'm not too sure what happened there. That looks like the two circus cousins coming together before they even got past the start-finish line.
Watch it on our replay as they head down the straight.
5 cars wide.
Always happens in a turn 1, I guess.
Watkins Glen is a wide track, but it's not that wide.
Anyway, we're back up the front. Matthew Pritchard ahead of Tebb and Jason Brooks into P3 ahead of Eric Chandra and Braden Pritchard. Those guys getting through nice and cleanly now. This will be a great battle for the race. I can feel it already. 10 laps with these guys up front.
The guys just need to settle themselves down at the moment. They don't want to burn too much of their tyre life up in these early laps. As we've seen, it does fade away even over a 10-lap race. You just need to all to settle their nerves down a little bit. Take a deep breath, lower the heart rate. The guys all just tucking in now. But that was Braden Pritchard, well, Matthew Pritchard missing his turn in there. And he has been lucky enough to manage to hold on to that. It is actually Tebb who is now being challenged by Jason Brooks. Jason slides up in the second, and Harrison Tebb is dropped back to 4th position because Chandra said, I want to jump in there too. And you've also got Braden Pritchard sitting off the back of this. The guys just all settle back into single file as we come through the bus stop. A little bit of kick of the car. You can see hitting that ripple strip there. That has taken a little bit of sting out of Jason Brooks. And Chandra now has a fantastic drive. He'll try and make a move. Coming down now through into turn 10. We've seen many of the guys get themselves lined up here. They go nose to tail through turn 10 and then get the inside line on the drive out of turn 11 to try and make the move down through the start-finish line.
Do you think Tebb's just sitting in the back behind Chandra, just going, all right, if I stay with these guys towards the end, then I'll just use the last 2 laps, come out and smash it. Let the guys up front burn their tyres. I'll just sit here patiently. So too Braden Pritchard at the back of the pack.
Yeah, they're just tucking in there. They're filling the mirrors with the front of their car. They're putting the pressure on. We've stuck the cars, if you miss your braking line and go a little bit wide out into the runoff zone, it does swatch away your momentum. And we'll see then Tebb and Chandra or Brooks or Pritchard, they'll all take advantage of anyone who makes a mistake.
And we've seen tonight that doesn't take much, to be honest. So hopefully by the 5th race, they all understand the car and the spatial awareness of everyone else around them. Not just chopping lines with front ends right next to them.
Looking at the lap times at the moment, these guys are driving these cars on the edge. There is not much left in the tank at the moment. The guys down the front all running in their 15.4s, which is very similar to qualifying pace from earlier in the day.
Oh, look at this compacting. Pritchard getting it left and right. Who's it going to be? Three-way into turn 1. Brooks up the inside.
Brooks gets the win. Pritchard
Oh,
Chandra
someone just got...
both running wide.
Yeah, looks like Eric just got a little bump trying to rejoin. Richard's in the middle there. Matthew, Braden, Harrison, Tebb.
Jason Brooks, the winner out there. He has got a little bit of breathing space at the moment. He just needs to focus on his turn in through here. Nice tight line in, getting a straight line back out again. Fantastic. That's the line you want to take through there. Maintaining the traction of these cars, a little bit of attitude. As you can see, just throttling, just feathering on the throttle there to try and keep the momentum of the car and get the turn in going on. Coming down the back straight now, the guy's swinging around, and we've got Jason Brooks defending the inside line there, we can see. And tucks it back in.
Watch Tebb up the inside. Well, he tries it, but Braden's taken that line, and Tebb's running wide right against the wall there. And Chandra's up behind as well. And P5 trying to get in on the action. Braden going to make a late move on his brother Matthew. But he settles in. They all it's like they're all stuck together by daisy chain.
And then Braden looks like he's going to get the move up the inside. No, Matthew manages to hold on to it. But Jason Brooks says, you guys fight it out. I'm going to just take off here. He's now got a half a second margin over these guys, and while they battled it out, they're allowing Jason to walk away at the moment. And again, that could be an advantage further in this race. Jason's going to have better time life if he doesn't have to push the car too hard. At the moment, looking at the wheel work for Braden Pritchard, well, sorry.
It's Harrison Tebb there. Yeah. He was working it hard, wasn't he? Just trying to get that car to turn. He's flat chat through there too, so it's front wheel drive. They're just burning up this rubber. The tyre wear a lot better here at Watkins Glen. Track rubbering up, but and the times are coming down, but you can see how much Bridgestones or Dunlops I think they are that they're leaving behind. They don't want to put them back in the truck. They just want to leave them out there on the track, as we can see the tyre lines coming. 5 laps down, 5 to go. We're halfway down, and Brooks is pulling out a 1.2 second lead. And it's...
We see Chandra now making a move on Tebb, trying to do it around the outside. And I think he is actually going to pull it off. That's the first time I've seen someone make a move around the outside through turn 1. And Tebb will not be happy with that.
We're in 6th gear already, so you can hear the car labouring, trying to get up the hill, and that's why the drafting is a big advantage for these cars.
It is amazing the amount of elevation that actually have to, they're still climbing all the way up that straight, is climbing up the hill, coming in before you hit the top of the hill right there, and then you make that massive climb on coming back down the hill and then trying to turn into, as you climb down, there is a slight embankment on the corner, but it flattens out, which is why you see some of the cars accidentally drift wide through turn 1. But the battle back on again. We've got Braden Pritchard over Matthew Pritchard, Eric Chandra and Harrison Tebb all filing out for 2nd place. But Jason Brooks now has a 2-second margin over this pack.
Yeah, he's quite comfortable, over 1.5 seconds out in front of these guys. He's probably looking at his mirror going, look at the bunch behind them. I hope they all battle it out between each other, holding themselves up as Brooks takes it away out the front. Taking all sorts of different lines through turn 1, trying to keep the momentum and get the top line speed up the hill through the S's now.
Braden over Matthew, but it looks like Eric Chandra is right onto the back of these two cars at the moment.
Oh, could almost be 3-way coming into the bus stop. Who's going to be? Pritchard on the inside. I should say Matthew on the inside, Braden. And then Chandra as well coming through. Nice and clean there. Nice and tight and clean. The other guys, John Slow coming through with Frederick Sarkis and James Sarkis chasing him. Jamie Walker and Troy Cieslowski rounding out the tail of the field there. Scott Flack missing from the grid as well, I've just noticed. We go back up front. Oh, Braden defending against Chandra here.
Matthew Flack's now got a little bit of space over this pack.
Oh, Braden. That's how close they are. This is the view for the driver through the netting, and it's a battle into turn 1. Oh, Teb up the inside too. What's
And
going
I
to...
think Tab is going to have the drive through there. 3 wide coming up into turn 3 and into the S's. And Teb takes the lead through there. Braden has to step back in behind. Braden and Chandra are fighting it out at the moment. Braden's got the tucked back in behind. He's now got the line coming in. But the winner for there was Harrison Teb. He's moved from 5th up into 3rd.
And that was just...
a big moment.
Chandra just going wide there. Too much momentum out in the grass, but it's okay. He'll get back on with 2 laps to go.
Harrison Teb getting the front-wheel drive car as sideways as you would like. A great job to manage to hang on to it there. But the guys tucked back in now, fighting for 3rd position at the moment. Harrison Teb, Braden Pritchard, and Eric Chandra. And Braden thinks about the line up the inside, but Harrison Teb just shuts the door.
We're on board with Eric Chandra now behind Braden Pritchard in screen. Will he show the nose right on the braking zone? Oh, Braden braking really heavy there. Chandra getting the inside line. Will he get the run up the hill to chase Teb as the front 3 are now spreading out? Oh, he just gets it in front. This is Braden Pritchard now chasing Chandra as he's lost a position back down into P5. He's got 2 laps to get in position back.
He's got the draft up here, but he's not going to be able to get up the inside. He's just going to have to tuck in here.
Much better driving this race from the boys. A lot of respect. A good clean. Oh, just a bit of a balk there as Chandra breaks mid-corner.
Yes, the guys are using the brakes right in that zone there to try and get the car to bite back in and get the grip when they're feeling the understeer. So it's nothing intentional. The guys are just trying to get control back of the understeer for the car as it pushes into the loop.
It's all about the weight transfer, getting the weight to the front and getting more grip on the front end as they try and get more grip mid-corner.
Everything's settled down a little bit now. We've got the white flag out. This could be the last lap of the race.
Got Brooks out front, Matthew Pritchard quite comfortable in P2. But it's going to be a huge battle for P3 coming up the hill now. If they get a good run, Chandra could get in the draft, the slipstream. Look at him just sliding out, letting the car just flow out, keeping maximum momentum as they labour up the hill. Chandra really... Oh, he's just got ahead of Teb. Oh, they've come together on the entry. Pritchard's coming back. Chandra's taking off with it. Teb's waiting back going, hey mate, where are you going? We'll have to sort that out later. And that looks like John Slow coming up the back. So Jason Brooks is out the front. Matthew Pritchard down the back straight. And it's Chandra, Pritchard, Teb and Slow in that order.
Jason Brooks had an outstanding drive at the front of this race. He has got into the lead and just walked away from this pack as they battled it out. Fantastic result for Jason Brooks. Matthew Pritchard taking 2nd, Eric Chandra in the 3rd, Braden Pritchard in 4th, Harrison Teb back in 5th, and John Slow coming through for 6th position. He's held off Frederick Sarkis, who will come through in 7th. Jamie Walker in 8th, Jamie Sarkis in 9th, and Troy Chislavsky rounding out our top 10. Coming through now, the Ned Whiskey car.
That's the Ford Focus, Ned Whiskey coming across the line for P10. Had a solid drive in the 2nd or 3rd race as Troy's leaving his fenders behind. Back in the States, saving weight on the plane back home. As we'll bring up the schedule for the next round.
So thank you everyone for watching. You've been watching the SimHaus British Touring Car for Interflow Plumbing.
And that was race 5 of 5, the conclusion of the race for tonight at Watkins Glen. A lot of action, a lot of heartache, and a lot for the pit crew to work on before they head home. So if you enjoyed that, make sure you tune back in for the next round, which will be at Oran Park. Oh, yes, can't wait for that one. That'll be on the 28th of June in the British Touring Cars. And if you're a V8 fan, make sure you tune in next Wednesday as we go to Hidden Valley for one of the Triple Crowns. That'll be on the 14th of June, round 5 of the V8 Championship. We've also got another league called the Champions League, and that'll be the the Brazilian stock car at Interlagos. A beautiful, beautiful car to drive and a spectacular car to watch as well. That'll be round 3 on the 21st of June. And once again, Tim, thank you very much for your expert commentary tonight. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for having me. It's been fantastic to be back here again watching the British Touring Cars for SimHaus and the Interflow British Touring Car season.
Now, we're going to miss you next in the V8s, so we hope you wish you well for work.
We will try and see whether we can do something dodgy on my tablet. If I can manage to get into Discord, I might be able to jump in for a few warm words, but we'll just see how the technology goes while I travel around this fantastic country for work.
No worries. Well, we look forward to that. And for you guys at home, I hope you enjoyed the coverage of the 4th round of the British Touring Cars, and we'll see you on the next round. So tune in next week as we go live for our 2023 Leagues V8 at Hidden Valley. So it's bye for now.